let me quickly, because I don't need to spend a lot of time. This is for your own reading, but I just point out some key interesting parts. Okay, the topic of this slide is, as you can see, use cases and applications. So actually, I bring here a number of examples that that generate, or we can use, or we can see some sample as well. But when you present the readings, I think those will be more up-to-date examples and research work as well. But I think highlights that we are already aware of is also DBpedia, right? Because it's kind of the central nucleus of the semantic web and knowledge graph that many of the things refer to. And it consists of a lot of structured knowledge that we gather, and then we could reuse them in a structured way, and so on. And dataset availability, this slide tells us from 2020 that it's kind of provide open dataset for researchers, developers, individual users to make use. Okay, but also it makes some other kind of closed data sets in which definitely it is for commercial purpose or R&D purpose, and it's not for free. But anyway, the size of DBpedia is kind of huge. Okay, it has, for example, the data set itself describing over 220 million entities. Okay, containing over 1.45 billion triples, and it does not acquire data from Wikipedia alone. We can also consider data from other, they have also other partners as well, okay, such as GeoNames, DNB, Music Brands, and so on. And these are some statistics from 2020. Number of classes, resources classified into several types. Okay. And I think we already looked at some examples, so I skip. Okay. But what you could think about using DBpedia. One simple thing is just to do systematic search and to do kind of what we call faceted search, that you can search according to several of the criteria, such as there could be, I mean, everything is defined when we learn more and more that we will see, but we already learned from schema, RDF schema, we have classes. You can classify your object into many classes, right? Such as there are people, there are places, there are entertainment program stuff, there are many other things. So you can search that, oh, I'm interested in place. What types of things about place you want to search for, such as place in Asia, such as it has some river, and you may need to think about some data that integrates with other data. For example, here, we may want to search for, oops, sorry. Here we may want to search for river that flow into the river Rhine and that are longer than 50 kilometers. or you can change it to your own geographical location in your country. Search for a mountain that is higher than this meter and that are in the country where there are population less than 2 million. Not country, a city maybe. And that is this and this and that. So integrating multiple criteria from different classes, objects, and so on are possible because all the data is there and then you can connect or link them. So you can see that once you start searching, such as you define that you are interested in items such as river, okay, you can, once you can read from the ontology, RDF schema, you can see that, oh, river may have class. River is a class. It may have property such as length and many other properties. So it will bring from the schema to be the attribute for filtering or for searching. Okay. When you talk about people, what are the dimension you want to search? Maybe if we talk about a person, oh, I might be interested in maybe my kids, okay, are studying science. Maybe we want to know, oh, are there any French scientists born in 19th century? So we want to search for all French scientists born in 19th century. Can you do that in Wikipedia? Usually when you search in Wikipedia, it's kind of keyword, right? You just say French scientist, okay, you may get return something, but you cannot filter more and more and more of certain attributes, such as when was he born, where was he born, or when, where was he even die, and so on. But actually all those data are available in Wikipedia anyway, right? Or in some other link data set. Okay, so you might want to filter the search by person. Then subclass of person, we have many job category types such as scientist. We have like birth or date of birth or born year and so on as attribute. Then we can filter born in year between 18,000 and 19,000, 1800 and 1900, yeah. And nationality France. You can do the same for Thai nationality and so on. Okay, even to be more specific, such as born in some particular location, like here, Paris, Lyon, and I don't know this, how to Oxford. Okay, or even graduated from some of these university like Ecole Polytechnic and so on, and many more, because each of these could have been the attributes describing such resource, right? So you could see that once data is available and they are interconnected, you can link them, you can search them, you can combine several of the search criteria together. Okay. Maybe something about place again, but this is about human-made things. So we might want to search for skyscraper in which it has more than 50 floors and the location anywhere in China. Or you can think about this interesting thing. What should we want to search? Okay. Okay. Or many more. And actually behind DBpedia is, as we already explored, right? They store things in a way similar to what we learned, right? The structured data, smart data kind of thing that is in RDF. But the real data store technology, they may use something else to back it too. But availability to export data and so on is as of now in the RDF technology. And in order to do many things, we need the query to do those many things that we refer to as example. We need query processing. And that is what we're going to learn, as I said, through what is called a standard query language somehow that is called Sparkle. And this is how Sparkle look like. Okay, an example. In this Sparkle, what I show here is kind of finding some description or abstracts of all movies starring Tom Cruise. And these could be some possible results, okay, that we run and obtain. And something else, and so on and so on. Okay, that's for one example of using DBpedia, but similar things could be done on other types of application once they have the data set for public. I mean, if we are individual, if we are developer and they provide their data set for others to use, then that is possible. And even sometimes they provide, you don't need to download their data set, right? We can just use API to call and run their data. Like in DBpedia, if you want to do things I said, they provide API, they provide user interface that we can do the Sparkle query by ourselves too. We don't need to download the data and try to host a server ourselves, okay? BBC, they had also their programs data available in ontology as well. Okay, but some of these initiatives, sometimes they move, they change, they relocate to different servers and services, okay? What I capture and shown here, maybe if you search BBC, you may not see the same thing. They may relocate their service here and there in different web links and so on. But they use ontology to store all of their, BBC has kind of documentary and knowledge sources as well, right? So something like related to wildlife, they also store their knowledge in terms of ontology, okay? And are the things, of course, these are the user interface. UI that they provide, the data stored behind, of course, are in RDF graph, those kind of things we learn, but they can build very beautiful user interface to just retrieve the data, show it, draw it like this, right? Okay, so this is what we saw here may not look like, oh, Professor, we learned all these bubble stuff link, but how come it's shown here? This is just for human, right? But behind the data technology, they use ontology, so on. And these are examples of things they would have designed and used, such as to describe this mallard species, a kind of, I would say, this bird, right? And so on. And you can see this is really the RDF XML syntax. And in their program show, TV show, yes, they also have their music, their programs, things described in ontology, RDF, and then for the searching, querying, classifying, and so on. This is the UI and UX application they provide, but behind, again, as I said, it's under their ontology project. Okay, many more you can have a look. Okay, I listed some of the projects and data sets available in different domains. Okay, Okay, so library is also one of the main application because data stored in library are in a very well formed structure type data, right? So it's very easy to really adopt this technology because to describe things about book, to describe things about library resources, about author, about this and that, they are very well structured and very easy to use this technology. Okay, so this is something like British National Bibliography. There are also many other like Library of Congress, and Dewey is also another classification standard library domain, and many more. And open government data is also another initiative started more than 10 years ago already, but also has been very useful and still very active. In Thailand, I think people started to realize the importance of open data just recently when our kind of the politician, the governor talk about public data, open data, use of data. So government should publish the data and make them available. I think those who learn e-government course as of now, okay, you might be able to link or make relevant. This is one technology to support e-government and e-governance, okay? Because once the data is published and provided by the government, it becomes very useful to the national development. So it started from the US and from many countries in the West. It even has something so-called Open Data Initiative and kind of consortium as well. This is the UK, but also once data published, the best form for data to be published is in linked data form because they can interconnecting to others data source. They can be searched, they can be queried, they can be processed. Okay, that is why open data, open government data, public data, when we talk about them, we want them, when we want these kind of data and projects to be available, to make available in RDF format or in digital format. Digital format doesn't mean PDF. If government open the data, but all in PDF, do you think it will be useful? It is useful, at least it's open. But can you, how much you can process PDF data? You may need to scrape the data into raw form, into Excel sheet or something, right? If they publish most of the statistics, but in PDF, in image, how can you really compute or do a lot of things automatically, right? Using computer program, that's very difficult. But when they publish their data and even in the raw form, that's very useful because we can redo many things, reuse all this available data, okay? All right, so that is what many governments have been doing and still doing, and that generate many possible potential applications, such as once data about, like when we have data in Google Maps available, right? And if you can really call API, make use, you can think of many possible applications easily. The same, a lot of data are actually owned by the government. Data about geolocation maps. Actually, we don't need to ask Google. Actually, every government has, this is the data about the country, right? Even data about the national, the population, the hospital, the place, the thing, they are actually owned by the government. So they even have, when they started these type of projects and still doing, but in the very first time, They even had something like contest. We open data. You find useful applications and develop them. Then we do some kind of contest and prize, like, oh, okay, which project is the most interesting, most useful, most amazing, and so on, right? So we provide data. You just think of some creative way and usable way, useful way to use them. So there are many more. Actually, if you will see a lot. These are some applications like, okay, antisocial behavior detection or meter, right? The orometer. So if there are data about antisocial behavior, then maybe you can write an application to draw certain maps and so on. That's interesting. Parkopedia, about parking place. Where are these possible parking places in a very big city? And as I said, this is one example, the app contest by the government of California state of the USA. They just opened the data. I have no idea about useful applications, but citizens would have. So it's up to the citizens to make use of the data in their own way. Data is yours. Okay, and so on. So there are something I took an example already about the area, about the land, about the safety, such as if you walk somewhere that you don't know, how safe it is in that location. This is some kind of alert. Oh, you are walking in the area that seems to have a lot of crimes. Walk away, please. It gives you red alert, green alert, or something. Okay. Use police department data, right? Crime statistics. And this crime statistic, where can we have? Of course, from the government. So that's why I said, actually, most of the data in this world, of course, are from business as well. But more than the business, the data is actually owned by the government. Crime statistics, wealthy, GDP, economics, data, where? Government. Okay. All right. Anyway, as I said, there are kind of call for contest, challenge, and so on, even in terms of research and international research, international forum, and so on. For the semantic web area, actually International Semantic Web Conference is one of the premier venue for researchers to publish, present, share, learn, network, collaborate with other research in the world as well. And every year it rotates and organized in different places and country, right? Apart from the research track, usually every year the Semantic Web Conference will call for the challenge. They will have some kind of challenging problem, okay, and then ask anyone to submit your solution or your thing in response to the challenge as well. Okay, that is one. So in overall, these are what I would like to say about applications, use cases, and to give you that, okay, how things have been going so far. Okay, then any questions, anything so far from your side?